All right. Welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in the Scottsdale studio, joined as always by Randy Angston. What's up, man?
You know, you got me thinking there. If we have a Scottsdale studio,
we must have another one too.
It
would be implied.
That's the next step.
A New York City studio.
But yeah, that was funny. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, well, if this is the Scottsdale one, where's our other one?
Nashville.
We're working on it. Let's go.
Yep, Nashville studio. Quick announcement, everybody. If you've not heard about the Iron Circle, that is our mastermind group, the top 5% of the industry, and I would even go as far as saying the top 1% of the industry. If you find yourself looking for more, what's next? Your gym's doing well. You're looking to scale it. You're looking to get outside the fitness business to grow wealth, retirement, things of that nature. That's all we really talk about in that group. We've had some great discussions on, whole life policy and land deals and Airbnb, and so, there comes a time in every gym owner's career where you've found yourself a little, some success along the way, and you're trying to see what's next. Check out ironcircle.net. Would love to chat with you. If you're finding yourself about, over $30,000 a month in revenue, that's kind of the line in the sand where we feel like the conversations change between, how to survive to how to, abundance side of the business. And so we'd love to chat with you. We're growing. Still got some room in there. ironcircle.net. Check it out.
Can't wait. That's my favorite seat.
Yeah.
I absolutely love those events.
And you'll find out more information on how often we meet, where we meet, what's going on, what the experiences are like. And, as far as the testimonials and go from the folks in the group. I'd love for you to check that out. ironcircle.net. All right. So this episode, I want to talk about changing the fitness industry. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll give you a little story. Back when we first opened, we were trying things to grow the business. We were, just like every gym owner does, you whatever, trial and error.
Figure it out.
Yeah. We're trying mailers. We're trying email marketing campaigns and, like short-term front-end offers and trials and door hangers. And, I find yourself on an island and, you finally hit something, like something works all of a sudden. And so I was always very closed-minded, not wanting to share any of the successes with any other. In fact, I didn't really know any gym owners, honestly. It was just, a couple of the guys that I knew from maybe an URSA convention or something, the equipment manufacturer. It's funny. I talked to the free motion guy as much as the rep. His name is Mike Young. If you're listening, buddy, they appreciate you lending an ear back then. But, you find yourself, you find a little win and you just don't know, you don't share it with anybody. You're afraid. Like, this is what was going through my head. I was afraid to share anything because I didn't want my competitors to find out what I was doing and then do the same thing I was doing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a common feeling amongst gym owners. And it's very interesting. This is one of the only industries that I can think of that is so like closed-minded and not willing to share anything. And I think that needs to change.
I'm 100% with you on that. I think that it goes back to that scarcity versus abundance, even the mindset, of the individual behind it. I know our growth and our transition through our, organization at one point, we were tight-lipped about everything that we were doing. We were worried about somebody picking up and running away with, quote unquote, the secret sauce and all of that stuff. And, here we are sitting here 300 and something episodes deep, giving away everything that we do every week. And I mean, we both can attest it. Like, we've never, had more happier clients, and we're doing better than we did at those points doing, with that type of belief. And when you transition that to something like our Iron Circle and you look at the willingness to share and the breakthroughs and the changes and the level and speed of growth, once somebody is in that position, it's night and day. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not even close to where, those individuals are with that are just guarded and they almost force themselves to remain on that island.
It's tough.
And it is, but it's, to your point, like, you have to kind of be aware of it. You have to come to terms with it. You probably have to change the way that you operate a little bit and be willing to step out and be vulnerable, stick your neck out, share, but also, at that point, others are going to open up and be able to, be willing to share more with you as well. Mm-hmm. And that two-way street, I think, is where the most, the actual, benefits to you, start to come in.
Yeah. In the beginning with Profit, I mean, I was in a group, a smaller mastermind. It was just some friends. It was Rick and Frank and these guys that I've been kind of buddies with. And when we started cracking the code on Facebook ads and funnels and automation and abandoned cart sequences, I shared it with everybody. It's like, look, and I did webinars, and I said like, hey, maybe it was Skype back then or whatever. I don't know if Zoom was even a thing, but it's like, hey, you guys should be doing this stuff. And, several of them jumped on board and like, yeah, that would be great, but I don't really know how to do it. I was like, well, let me just show you. Let me show you. You do this, you take this and write this email, and this is the program and all this, here's what the ad should look like. Here's the image we like. And I was going hard and sharing, and that became the catalyst for then Profit, because Profit wasn't there yet. It was just an idea that we,
it was 6 months down us actually helping them before it was a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to your point there, they all had the opportunity to have what became our business, right? The knowledge of what that was founded on. Mm-hmm. Any one of them could have did that and turned around and
made a business out of it. Yeah.
Not one of, if you remember, I mean, I'm sure you do, not one of the people actually even took the knowledge that we had and did it themselves. 100% of the people that we gave the option when we first started, for those of you listening, we gave the option of like, hey, we'll educate you on this, or, if you don't want to do it, we'll do it for you for a different fee type of thing. Everybody chose that route.
Yeah.
Which just showed that, it wasn't a matter of just, these guys weren't looking to steal the idea or run with it. It was still somewhat a foreign concept for them, where the solution that they needed wasn't them going to learn the process and bring it in and do it all themselves.
Yeah.
They liked the idea that they understood it, but they would still rather have somebody else in that seat pulling the.
And I remember in the beginning, Frank and even Whitney, and if you guys are listening, I said, I don't know if it's going to work for you. Let me just do it for free. Let me just run it for you. And I remember Frank was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. 1,600 leads. We've got like 80 clients out of this thing in the first week. Like, what did we do? What's going on?
It was crazy.
We had cracked the code, and I wasn't holding that real close. I was like, you guys need to do this. And I didn't realize that this would be difficult for people to do. So we ended up creating Profit around that concept, and then we just ended up growing from there. Mm-hmm. But it opened the doors for the opportunity for us to create a company. And, nobody went off and did it on their own.
Yeah.
It was, to your point, nobody, if I was afraid of sharing this to then worry about building competition for ourselves. And even later on, even later on, we were teaching people how to do it. And I was like, well, we're building competitors for ourselves. But then again, nobody ended up going that route. I mean, some people down, like probably 3 people removed from those folks.
Yeah, sure.
Ended up becoming competition. But hey, I don't know when it happened for me. I don't know when that might have been the point. It may have been a little bit before that, where I just said, share everything with everybody. And, it comes back 15, 20 fold. And it has been. And that's where Profit in this podcast and Built to Grow it's all been the catalyst of just giving instead of holding stuff close. Has helped us get to where we are. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. And I think that, with those that we, surround ourselves with, the coaches that we listen to and things like that. I mean, it's kind of a known belief, right? Like the abundance mindset is really what, successful individuals typically operate. We hear that from at least the world that we're part of, but it is a challenge for many to step into, right? So you probably, I'm glad you brought, this was, your topic kind of thing. You brought that to the table to speak about. And I kind of chuckled to myself. I literally within the last 24 hours had this exact conversation with a individual that's looking to join our coaching program. Mm-hmm. We have a group coaching program, and his concerns are, well, what if I come to the calls and I've got something personal to share about the business? And I go, we're talking business, brother. There's nothing personal that you can't share. Yep. Like, here's the thing, there's too many people out. I mean, too many options out there, right? Like the pie is big enough for all of us to win. I'd be hell-bent to believe that you're bringing something to the call that none of us have heard of type of thing, or, it's not something that's like, proprietary service or something that you're doing that nobody else has ever heard of. So I told him, I go, I'll challenge you, like, hey, here's the thing. If it's personal to you, like it's your life, it's, something outside of the business that you wanted to discuss, by all means, man, I'm not throwing you in front of everyone to make you uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Sharing something that is that close to heart. I go, but if we're talking about business, I'm going to challenge you to change that, shift that mindset. You have to start being willing to put out there what you bring to the table, because that's what allows others to feel that, to be part of that with you, and then be able to share what they have, and everybody wins. The whole rising tide raises all ships. It's such a more conducive, enjoyable, less friction like way of living.
And the cool thing is, somebody's might have faced that exact thing, right? And it's like, oh, well, when that happened to me, right? And so, kind of going back to our Myrtle Beach experience with one of our gym owners was looking to purchase, purchase the property that his building, that he's working out of the building. He wants to buy it from the landlord. There was a dry cleaner on the property that had some, contaminated ground, and they're dealing with the city, and it's just like contamination going on. And literally 2 other gym owners in that group said, well, I faced that exact same thing, and here's where I ran into roadblocks. And the other guy was like, well, that's why this landlord went out of business, is because that also happened to us with the same dry cleaning and all the whole thing there. Which honestly, I didn't realize they did dry cleaning at the actual places. I thought they
shipped them out. I think it's a 50-50. Yeah. Because in this area, I know the one you're talking about.
Drop my stuff off, and then
they send it somewhere else.
They send it somewhere else. So maybe, but in these particular locations, they were actually doing the dry cleaning, and so there was seepage, and water waste and all that stuff going on. And it's like, well, that's the exact same thing that I faced. So which was crazy.
That's the wildest thing. We're in a room of, what was there, 28, 30 individuals?
Yeah.
Not in close to that when it comes to the number of gyms. How unique of an experience is it to not only be looking for purchasing the land that your gym's in, but to have the complications of a dry cleaner and contaminated soil? And then if you didn't open up and ask those questions, not know that the 2 other people sitting in that same room had the exact same experience. I'm not talking a different business with different contamination, literally the identical situation that you're in. The chances that happens are astronomical, but the benefit of being able to get real world applicable results from somebody who sat in that seat, it would only happen with your willingness to share. Right. So if they weren't open and communicative about the issues that they were facing, they would never have the solutions that were right in front of them as well.
And they got some good advice, and I don't think he's moving forward with it. We'll see. But, we also have a Facebook group. It's called Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. And, it's over the last probably year and a half, it's starting to open up a little bit more. People are sharing their specific issues, and people are jumping in and helping these folks, which is amazing for me, because it's like, where was this when I was coming up? There was nothing like this. So I opened in 2009. There was no Facebook ads. There was literally direct mail, flyers, putting stuff on cars out in front of the grocery store, and that kind of stuff, that's what we had to do. Then, of course, with the Facebook, with the Facebook stuff, and I started sharing that, and we were getting these huge wins. It grew and grew. And so other people benefited from us sharing, but we also benefited back by them, becoming clients of ours. So it just goes to show you guys, there's nothing that you're doing that I can think of, maybe, that somebody else hasn't heard of, or that's a big secret, some proprietary software that you designed, maybe.
Even at that, you still have to give them all of your algorithm. It's not like you're talking about the code, idea, right? Yeah, exactly. Let them go, give them your code. Sure. Now somebody might, go compete against you. But let's talk about what the software does. They're so far behind you to catch up to get to that point. It's not. Those stuff shouldn't be the worry. Yeah, you're worried about the wrong things there.
So the fitness industry needs to change. And what needs to happen is we need to all share. We all need to build an alliance with each other, even your competitors. I mean, I think the best example of competitors bonding together was during the COVID shutdowns, and what are you going to do and navigate this together? And I think a lot of even competitors got together at that time, and they became buddies and friends and colleagues, and now we're sharing. And it's like, look, even if you're right across the street from somebody, okay, let's think about this for a second, and you're in a normal size city, how many clients do you both need in order to be successful? 300, maybe 500 if it's a bigger operation, maybe 1,000. How many people in a 5 mile radius? Probably 100,000.
I went to
80,000. You need a fraction of a fraction of a fraction for you both to be successful.
Well,
so what are you worried about?
Even play it out. I went to a tiny little podunk school in the middle of, the Midwest. There was 25,000 people in the town. Like even at 25,000,
you need a couple hundred
fractions of that population. Like it's minuscule. You know what I mean? And so we're literally creating, and that you brought up something like, even if your competition's across the street in the COVID situation, the only thing that changed between that is where you guys drew the line, right? The quote unquote competition or the enemy was no longer the other gym. It was the law, the shutdowns. Government. It was the government, but all we did was change the perception of where who the fight was against type of thing. You know what I mean? And so we can maintain that today. We can realize that it is way beneficial. It's like gas stations on opposite corners, right? I remember in school learning when they always brought up like price gouging and how if you're so hell bent on the competition and the race to the bottom, like it doesn't work. You literally have a business that's staring at your competitor every single day. And if you guys don't have some sort of, even if it's an unspoken agreement, you can absolutely put each other out of business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because you're no longer worried about the consumer, you're no longer worried about the benefit to your client. You're worried about the wrong thing. One of the most beneficial lessons I ever learned when I was working with Bob Proctor was that you can't operate in both the competitive and the creative plane at the same time. Your energy is going to be restricted to one. Right. So if you're out there and you want to be the innovator in the industry, you want to be the person who's providing something better than what your competitors are doing. If you're out there thinking and working on what it takes to be that and create that, keep your focus on, the creative process as opposed to what can I do to go take this other guy out or what is he doing that I need to go worry about, what are his offers that I can make mine better. You need to stay in your lane.
Focus.
There's value in understanding your competition, but do not shift your focus and start chasing because, again, now you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Now we're not proactive, we're reactive. Now we're doing everything based on what they're doing and not who and what we want to be.
Imagine if we focused on all the people that are copying our stuff. I mean, we see it, we laugh about it, we're aware of it, but it's like, we're so far ahead anyway. By the time they're catching up, they're catching up to stuff we did last year.
And that's the point of the podcast in general, right? Like if we were so worried about the things that we were saying, our clients would never, you guys, the listeners would never get those benefits. You guys would be the ones that suffered because we were worried about what our competition is going to do in a few weeks, few months, whatever. Yeah. That's not where we're going to put our focus.
Yeah. We'll never be forward thinking and never being kind of, the trailblazers that we're trying to be. So,
leading from the front, right?
Yeah. So listen, wanted to bring this topic up because this is, I think, front of mind for me because this is where my head was when I first started, and I understand kind of where everybody's at. That's thinking this way. I think, be quick to share, be quick to open up. You'll see the benefits come along. You're going to help somebody, even if you don't get it back directly from that person. You feel good that you've helped somebody win. That's how we focus. That's our compass. If we can help somebody win out there, we've done our job today. And, listen, there's groups like Iron Circle. There's groups, there's coaching groups like we have. There's Facebook groups that you can share in. Ours is Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. We'll make sure all these links are in the show notes. You can just go jump in the group and, say hi over there. And throw your questions out and throw your wins out and throw your solutions out. Hey guys, look at what I'm doing and it's working. Check it out.
Yeah.
Right. And have somebody, hopefully you can help somebody.
Yeah. And engage in the conversation, bring your struggles to the table because there are people in those organizations, in those rooms that are willing to help, that have done the work, that have already, gone through the trials and tribulations of the things that you're now experiencing, and they are willing to help. And so, I love this topic. I think that this is one of the biggest shifts that you can have. And it's like one of those mental breakthroughs. Not only is it a benefit and you will see measurable changes as this stuff takes place, but it's also a hell of a lot more freeing way of life. If you're running through life with big walls and worried and
looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. Like nobody wants a target on their back and to be looking over their shoulder. And so if you keep your head on straight and you're looking forward, and you do you type of thing.
By the time you catch up, you'll be so far down the road. Nothing to worry about. So hopefully that helps you guys go out and win the day. That's it for this episode. Until next time, keep changing lives. See you on the next show. Bye. All right. And thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. And when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.